Oh my God, Mimi, this is our first time meeting in person.
It feels so normal.
I know.
I feel like I've known you forever.
I know. It was crazy. I walked into the studio and you were there, and then two other girls that we know. I know it seemed like you know them. Oh, you don't know, but you were talking to them?
No.
Oh, never mind. I thought you guys were talking. Okay, never mind. Well, she has a podcast here too, so I'm like seeing all these people, and it just felt like as I was seeing you, I've known you forever. And we're the same height. We're the same height. So everybody listening and watching, if you're watching the video, we're the same height. I feel like online people can't really tell.
I thought you were going to be taller. From online, you look taller. Everyone knows that I'm short. I don't know, I look short on my, in my photos and stuff, but I thought you were taller.
Well, you look short because your fiance is like 6'4" or something.
Yes, that's it.
Yes, and you're what, like 5'3" or?
I'm 5'2".
Okay, so I'm 5'4", but you have the heels on.
I have mini booty heels on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's incredible to meet you in person. This is your second time on the podcast.
Yes.
The first time, I was trying to remember, we did virtual. We talked about meditation and business and all the things that we have in common. But today we are here to go deeper. We're going to go deeper into you. And I really want to talk about things that people don't already know about you.
Sure.
Because you're fans, and welcome to all of Mimi's fans that we have here. They know a lot about you. Like, I know a lot about you. I've been an active follower of your content forever. So let's get into that today.
Would love to, because I do so many interviews and it's always the same thing. You know, what's your story? How did you get to where you are? What was like Mimi 1.0 and what's Mimi 2.0 and how did you get there? And what's Superhuman? How did you build a business? But I love that you're saying this because I am so open to go deeper.
Yeah, it's time. I think it's like 7.0 time.
I feel like it's 7.0 right now as well. Life is just crazy at the moment.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about life right now.
Well, I'm learning a lot at the moment. I'm in this really intense moment of growth, I think, with myself as a business person. Over the years, you know, as I was building Superhuman, it was all great. And, you know, I kind of just did what I was always doing, which is like trying to create things. And I was a solo entrepreneur. Like I really didn't have a big team up until about a year ago. I started hiring a lot more because the business started becoming bigger than me. And I have learned so much, just like how I feel like you've learned so much being a mother. Like you just learn a different side to you. I feel like being a business person has created this like intense growth for me. And I am learning how to deal with so much real world crap that owners of businesses need to deal with. Like we were just talking off air, how I'm now dealing with this insane headache with my new app developers. They've really just, you know, turned around on us in a way. Like their deadlines just have not been hit. And I've literally paid them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And because of the delays, I have to now pay my other developers extra time. And because of their lack of resources, I've had to, you know, put my staff on the project, and it's ended up costing me well over $100,000 just in losses from the past 6 months of their delays. So it's like this intense, you know, stress that is just so natural as a business person to have all the time. And someone that owns something that is so deeply part of them, like Superhuman's my baby. So when I'm working with people on the project, now I have a huge team and I'm constantly hiring, and it's just brought out this different side to me that really didn't know who to be yet. I was so naive back in the day when it comes to signing with this agency, for example. They swooned me at the beginning and I was so excited, and they were great salespeople, and you know, I didn't do certain things with the contract that I should have. So I've learned all of these lessons. And with all this stress that is just like inevitable with business, and especially with a startup like this, I have really needed to learn to practice what I preach in these moments of things happening, things being thrown at you, needing to put aside my quite soft feminine nature to step into this leadership position, which is also incredibly interesting because naturally I'm a very feminine, soft woman. But I have a side to me that's this like intense businesswoman that, you know, wants to get what she wants and, you know, get what she pays for, and creates this team and doesn't take no for an answer and has to fire people if they're not up to standard, and all these big things that are very more so of a masculine energy. So I think it's been such a learning curve, really, you know, marrying these two energies together and trying to figure out where I can be soft and feminine. Because I also love that side to me with my staff. I really open up to them. They open up to me. We have a very beautiful relationship. And I think that that's important, especially with a company like this. But then for the most part, I also need to put my CEO hat on and not allow people to walk all over me, which in the past I was a bit too soft and I allowed people to walk all over me, which is not a good thing as a business owner, because then you end up paying people way too much. They don't do enough. And it's just a very difficult balance. So it's been all consuming, especially over the past year. And last year, I definitely feel like I burnt out a few more times than I should have. And this year, this theme is really just like, I feel more powerful and I feel just a lot more safe in myself. And it's a lot of stress, and the bigger you get, the more stress that comes with it. But it's just been this constant roller coaster of like really trying to hold on to what I know works when it comes to my personal development, when it comes to me trying to be the best person, the best partner, the best friend, the best business owner, and just needing to trust myself with these big decisions, because owning a business just brings out like so many insecurities that you might have.
It does. It's really a mirror. It's like any relationship in our life is such a mirror. And then business is a very intense mirror, especially for really driven people, which you obviously are. It brings out the triggers, like anything that could go wrong often goes wrong, and you have to know this is just the art of surrender, and there's no controlling. And I've struggled with that a lot as a business owner, the controlling, the very, very challenging for me to delegate. And the Balance Wand is my baby. And I think what you've done really well is hire a team. It seems like you've really learned how to delegate, which I would love to talk about with you, because I'm like, I've kept things very tight.
Oh, I love delegating.
For a decade.
I'm like, do it all.
What's your human design again?
Can you remember you guessed?
I know. Are you a generator?
Something generator.
A manifesting generator, of course. And then wait, I know when your birthday is. Let me think about this. Wait, why is this driving me crazy? Are you an Aquarius? What is wrong with me? What's your sign?
I'm just going to give you signs, okay? I'm very sensitive.
Cancer.
Yes.
You're such a Cancer. You're an end of June Cancer, right?
I'm a middle July Cancer.
Oh, fuck. What is that?
It's okay.
Normally my memory is like spot on, but you're such a Cancer. It's all coming back to me now.
I have like a double Leo as well. So I'm like a Cancer Leo, so I'm so sensitive, but then I'm also quite feisty sometimes, but it's like two different sides to me, so I need to balance them. So for example, I had this really intense call with my app developers this morning, and they were just, trying, like the founder guy, he's very alpha male, talks over you, condescending, just does not respect me. I don't think as a
so hard.
Female founder that's young, and I don't get that vibe from him. Like he wouldn't speak to me like that if I was a older man, let's just say. And I'm trying to hold my ground, and I'm doing everything that in my mind, I'm trying to be calm and powerful, and under the table I'm holding my hands in this position because it's like a position of power, and I'm trying to breathe slowly and just speak with conciseness. And after the call, I just like started crying because I was just like, fuck. Yeah. I wish I could be better.
No, it's emotional. Yeah. Well, you're handling it really well.
It's so hard.
It is hard. You're doing amazing. I'm so proud of you. And it's powerful to feel the emotions. That's what I wish the older male founders understood. Like, we as women, we are mystics. We are superhuman.
The whole business is founded on like this raw, beautiful emotion.
It is.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. I mean, for people who are not familiar with your business, which I think most people here are, you can feel the heart behind it. You can feel the inspiration. I can feel like it's purely channeled from another realm, and it's mystic, and only a woman could create this. I mean, look, I love, men and women, all the things, but you're such a force.
Thank you. It's so hard balancing the two. And obviously you've caught me at a time where I'm like hypersensitive right now, but
we're here for it. Last week I was in the studio, I was bawling my eyes out.
No, why?
emotional day.
Yeah.
Very emotional day. And it's been an emotional year for me.
Yeah.
So I had to take some time off of podcasting.
Yeah.
I was too emotional to be here.
Yeah.
So you're with the right person. We've got you.
You're
and
just so easy to like open up to as well.
Well, that's an honor. That's such an honor.
Yeah.
And it's freaking frustrating. I mean, to have those conversations, and you said there's so much money involved.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard because there's so much money involved.
That would send me over the edge.
You just never know with people, and I was so naive, and I think that was a cute thing when I was in my early 20s, being so naive with business, with other areas of my life. I kind of always, you know, saw the best in people, and I believed people when they told me they would do something or be something, and I always saw like the most incredible potential in situations. And I think that superpower of mine, that I can see potential in everything and everyone, is so incredible. But then it also has its downsides, and the downsides are that I'm over trusting. You know, I can agree to big projects that cost a lot of money and then get fucked over.
Right.
But
and as a manifesting generator, you can hold a lot. I mean, you guys are the type who, it's good to be like with your hands in so many different pots and working with a lot of different powerful people.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is it's not always going to end up great. Like some of it will, and that's why you have great success, and some of it won't.
Yeah.
And you just have to like roll with those punches, and it's very hard. It's not for the faint of heart, and it's not for most people.
It's so hard, but it's so fulfilling too. Obviously, you have bad days like today.
Right.
But then you also have days where it's just like you look at what you've built, and we have a customer love channel in our Slack. Like just every single day, my social team or my customer service team just sends in screenshots of what people say. And that is just like, it makes everything worth it. Because when people tell me that my product has like literally changed their life, I just get this feeling of, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my calling. And all of the BS that is so human and so here, like, you know, struggling with communicating with people that we're working with, or just like, you know, money, like all these things, it's just part of it. And it has taught me so many lessons, but I'm still trying to navigate it. Like it's really something that I'm constantly learning. And it's just been the biggest learning lesson for me the past year. And I've just been so consumed with it. But all to say, it's helped my personal development incredibly. And I feel like I've stepped into this more powerful version of myself, you know, powerful and in this flow of like just creating something big. I feel that underlying energy, and I just know, I know deep down that what I'm creating is going to be and already is so much bigger than me. And I know deep down that it's just the beginning, and this huge goal of mine, creating something big like this, I know it's happening. I know it's on its way. And I just have a part of me that just thinks every once in a while, okay, I'm going to dedicate my life for the next 5 to 10 years on this. And then I'm just going to relax. And then I'm going to buy a farm somewhere and have babies and just like chill. So we'll see what happens. But that's I think of that whenever I'm feeling really stressed.
Yeah. No, that sounds ideal. And we're very similar in that way. Yeah. These are the years of grinding and working and building something. And clearly you love it. Like this is your passion.
Yes.
And yeah, those future ideals, they sound freaking incredible. And something that it seems like you do a really good job doing is also finding the balance in your day-to-day life. Like you live in the Bahamas, and when I need like some kind of boost of good energy, I look at your stories, because you're like on walks with the palm trees, and I know you work really hard, but it seems like you also incorporate a lot of time for you.
I don't know what I would do if I lived in a big city building this business. Like I would just be so unconnected or disconnected to myself, because being in nature just grounds me so much. That being said, I travel so much, so I'm constantly kind of go, but my home being the Bahamas, and it has been for the past 3 years since building this business, has just allowed me to soften in those moments where I'm feeling overwhelmed or stressed. I'll go look outside, look at the ocean, like go on a walk. So it's definitely beneficial. And for everyone listening, I guess, that has that stress from work or something in their life, and you live in a city, just like trying to go to parks more, trying to just like leave your phone at home and go somewhere where there aren't many people. I think it's just such an important thing. And for me, it's like a make or break. I cannot have that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's amazing. That's my goal, is to live in a tropical location.
Oh, really?
Yes, at least like part of the time. That's what we're really working toward. And then I just think there's so much more to life than meets the eye. And this mentality in the cities that I live in and that you travel to all the time, that's not what life is all about. Like, yes, it's for some people. But yeah, when it comes to raising a family and also having peace, I think that's incredibly important.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's also taught me to just be in the moment more. I lived so much of my life with the mentality, I'll be happy when, and the mentality of, just I'm constantly seeking a goal. I'm constantly working towards a goal. And really the past year or so, although it's been the most crazy hectic year building this business, I feel like I've also stepped into this new version of myself that is so much more present and so much more in the moment, and feeling grateful for what I've built while also wanting more. And I find that's such an important part of it all, because it's such a waste of life constantly living in the future and constantly living in the past. We are goal-seeking creatures, human beings. I will not ever stop doubting that. Like, I feel good when I'm working towards a goal, and I think having an image of your future self, working towards that future self, is so deeply important. But you need to have one foot in the present moment at all times and just being truly in it, because life is just so precious. And I've really come to that realization recently. You always hear it until you really get it. You don't really feel the effects. But yeah, that's been the biggest shift, I think, in my personal development over the past 5 or 6 months. I've just been a lot happier with where I am now while also seeking more. But that was something I used to struggle with so much.
We voice messaged a little bit last night about how this year has been really different for you. But before we get into that, I also want to back up, because I have a memory of being in Miami like 3 years ago. This was like in the middle of COVID, and you had just left a Joe Dispenza retreat, an in-person retreat, and we were talking, and you were just like, this completely changed my life. I have a vision for my business that's completely changed. And you shared a little bit of that with me, and I've really seen you execute it. Like, I feel like that really changed your life, and I just want you to tell us about that.
Oh my gosh,
experience.
Of course. I'm obsessed with his work. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's one of the top 3 teachers that I've looked at in my life. And I haven't really done his meditations or work like really in a while, probably past year, because I feel like I really learned it all. And I went to the retreat. I've actually been to 2 retreats. And then like I would love to listen to all of his interviews and everything. But I feel like I get the gist of it now. So that's kind of why I haven't gone to one recently, but I highly suggest it. It's so interesting. It's very intense. I think I had a really interesting experience there because I'm also, like you, a pretty sensitive person, as you guys can tell by this point. And being in a room with like 3,500 other people deep in meditation was a bit intense. Again, an amazing life experience. Would recommend everyone try it at least once. But now, kind of knowing what I want and everything, like I love his work, but his retreats are intense. Like unless I had to go and really heal something and do something big, because his work is very much so focused on healing and your physical body and stuff. It was just like so intense, and I felt completely out of body the entire time, but in a way like I just wasn't grounded at all. So I was barely sleeping. It was amazing and it was incredible, but really hard to put into words because I also just felt so ungrounded and just like I felt like I was in a different realm the entire time, which is not a bad thing, but it was also just like, whoa, it was a lot to handle. And I was, so I'm so sensitive. I could feel other energies and stuff. So for me now, what I've decided is I really like smaller groups, and I actually hosted a retreat back in the fall, and it was amazing. We had like 20 women there, and like meditating with 20 women that all of their intentions. It was just so beautiful. But that retreat was definitely an incredible moment of my life, and it was in the thick of me really up-leveling to this new version of Mimi. And it was amazing because you go there and you're just in your future self energy the entire time. You are meditating so much. You're going deeper than ever. And his meditations are so deep. They're very different to superhuman ones. Ours are a lot more surface. They're all like manifestation, visualization, kind of more, you know, for, I wouldn't say for beginners, because a lot of people that are advanced use it, but it has a different I guess, intention behind it. His are deep, healing, incredible, but they're deep and they're long and they're intense. So doing that for a week was so crazy. It was so cool. But again, looking back, like, it was so intense. And I think if I were to do another retreat that was similar, I would try to find with a smaller group, because I'm such a sensitive person and that energy was pretty intense. And, you know, some things throw you off, like you're in the middle of meditation and someone in the crowd is like screaming like they're, you know, getting stabbed or something, and it's just like really intense. Like, that scares me. I don't need to be involved in that kind of stuff. Like, I don't want to be around that. But then there are beautiful moments where I had just like incredible deep meditations, and I really connected with my future, and it was beautiful, but it was just so intense. That's what I would describe the experience. But he's a force. He's like totally not human. He's an incredible person. His energy is out of this world. Seeing him in person, just seeing his like physical body in person, even if it's on the stage far away, like you could just sense how powerful he is. And it's so freaking cool to just witness.
Yeah, that's incredible to hear about your experience.
Yeah, it was intense.
And I'm happy we're talking about it, because I've wanted to do one of his in-person retreats for a long time. But I'm so highly sensitive. And the way that you're talking about it, it actually reminds me of some of my psychedelic journeys, even though it's very different, but meditation can get you to similar levels.
Yes.
So it's really not all that different. I mean, I know you understand.
That's what Joe says too. Joe's like, you don't need drugs to get there.
Right.
Yeah. But it's really hard to do it naturally, but it's possible.
Yeah. Everything that you're saying is almost the way that I talk about psychedelic therapy now.
Yeah.
Like, I did it. I went full into it for like 4 years. I got a lot from it. The medicine is powerful. It meets people where they are. I highly recommend it to people who are seeking that type of healing. And I now know, because of my sensitivity, it's not an option for me at this point, not right now. The future could hold something different. And there was a little bit of trauma from it because of how sensitive I am. And it just reminds me a lot of what you're saying, because I'm imagining meditating and getting to those really, really, really deep states surrounded by 3,500 people. That makes me feel like I would have a panic attack. However, you know, I know that these are like some of people's most powerful experiences of life. So it's really just to be discerning. It sounds like you're saying about what stage of your journey you're in.
Absolutely. Yes, his work is incredible, and it's very much so focused, especially as he's evolved from what I've seen. It's focused a lot on healing from disease and physical ailments, and crazy things happen at those retreats. Yeah. But for me, I think about my goals, and all I really want is to just keep becoming a better and better version of myself, to be happy, in love with life, you know, create the success that I desire, have amazing relations. I have pretty much most of what I want. I just, I guess I'm seeking more of it as I go, as a goal-seeking human. But I'm happy where I am now as well. So I don't think I necessarily need to do something like that for the time being. Who knows? Things might change. I might have something I really need to deal with. I might have curiosity. A lot of people go there to go so deep, where they connect with, different, I want to say species, but it's not even species. It's like entities or people from different planets or alien, whatever it is. People talk about that at his retreats. Like, you'll talk, just because I was talking to everyone there, like they've been to 5 different retreats before. Right. So many people go often. And I've been told that there are certain beings that show up at every retreat. And there are these big, tall, blue beings, apparently. And then there are these other ones. And people describe them, and it's like a known fact, apparently.
Well, maybe I do have to go, because that is definitely what I'm into.
Yeah, so maybe you do, but then you create this like protective bubble and an intention going in that nothing is going to come into your energy that you don't want. You can do stuff like that. And I had a similar situation where I had fear, so I did, like, I don't want to call it a plant medicine journey, because it was not plant, but it was, I think, a mix of plant and synthetic. They don't actually tell you what it is. I can't really talk too much about it because it's like kind of a top secret thing, but
but it sounds fascinating.
Yeah. So I just kind of spoke about it briefly on my podcast, but back in November, I did a assisted drug experience when I was traveling in November, and it was pretty crazy. I don't even know how to talk about this. So my friend referred me. You can only go through a referral. They call the drug Clarigenics, which is, I guess, a name that they made up because apparently it's a mix of a few different things. And you go and you have facilitators with you, and you go into this deep journey. It's not psychedelic. I don't see things. Well, for me, I didn't. For some people, I guess they do. But you basically just, like, your ego is deleted and you are just your higher self, and they record you. You put your phone on record and you talk for 3 hours when you're on this drug, and then you make a transcription from it and work with the facilitators for weeks after to get this transcription to like uncover messages from your higher self. And it was wild. Essentially, I initially went because my friend who referred me, he was like, it's like the limitless drug, like, you know, it's very exclusive and incredibly expensive. And, you know, he's like, all these billionaires go, and, you know, it's only by referral. And, you know, he was like, it's amazing. You have to go, Mimi. And I was just like, you know what, this is kind of not like me, because I haven't touched drugs since I was a teenager. Recreationally, I would do drugs, and I had some bad experiences back then, but that was completely a different scenario. So I just did it because I was so curious, and it didn't feel like the limitless drug for me, but I just felt like I was this like soul, like the deepest parts of me. And it was this physical sensation. So they tell you that, you know, they can't tell you what it feels like, because like what it feels like basically inflates like how you're already intuitive, essentially. So for me, I'm a feeler. I get goosebumps if I know something's good. I'm very much so in tune with my physical body. I don't see visions really. I feel things, and I have knowings. So when I was in there, I didn't see anything. And they put headphones on you and put like insanely beautiful music, and it's like healing music, and you're just like, what the hell is happening? You definitely feel like you're on drugs. And it was like a very intentional one. Like I went in with intentions. I want to figure out what I want to do with certain areas of my life. And so it was just this insane physical sensation, and like this way that my brain was working was just so interesting. And I can kind of feel it now, even talking about it. I felt my whole body was just like, I couldn't get over how it felt. It was just like 500 orgasms in one all over your body, and then you have these messages coming through. And it was the most that was even more wild and transformative, I think, than the Joe retreat. Because the Joe retreat's incredible if you want to learn about the science behind all of this work, and it's, again, amazing, but this was just so different. I also just felt very different afterwards for months. I couldn't drink coffee from that day on, and I just felt I was so like just lost. I didn't even know who I was for the first week or two. I was so sensitive. There were all these crazy emotions that came up. Anyway, I think that's pretty similar to your ketamine journeys as well. I feel like they don't tell you what's in it. Cause it's like this special drug no one knows about. I'm like, it might be ketamine and MDMA or something.
Sounds like it. And maybe it's a combination that we don't know.
Exactly.
But it was insane. There had to be some ketamine in there, because that sounds identical to a lot of what I've experienced. And it's beautiful, and it's very intense, and you have to be ready for it and ready for the things that come up. So I'm just like you. I mean, I haven't been able to drink coffee since November because of that experience. I've had caffeine twice, and it has sent me into a full-blown like panic attack. Just I can't touch it anymore, which is really sad, because I love coffee, but I'm trying to figure out alternatives. It's just so wild. And normally, I mean, every ounce of me wants to be like, okay, when we finish this podcast, you have to give me the info and refer me, because that is my thing. And there's this other small part of me which has emerged, and this is like the new Jordan, 8.0, who knows, who's like, I know that now is not the time for me, because I'm still integrating the ketamine and the sensitivities that have come up, but I'm always going to be interested in this stuff. It's a passion. I think it's fascinating. I think people who try it, like yourself, are so brave because you never know what's going to come up.
I was so nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Was the ketamine thing injected?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this was pills and then an injection, and I found out that I got in and my application went through, and usually there's a really long wait list, but they just had an opening like the week after. So I booked my flights. I got accepted, and I didn't even know if I wanted to do it. I just put in an application. It got accepted, and the person called me and saying, listen, like, this doesn't really happen often, but we have an opening for next week. Would you come to, Tennessee to come do it? And I said, okay, sure. I guess so. I don't know. I'm really nervous. That whole week before doing this triggered such an intense stress and anxiety inside of me because I was so nervous. I'm terrified of drugs, like the typical drug experience. That when I was younger, I had terrible experiences on drugs. I was crazy and young, and I hated it. And then this is me trying to do something for my personal development, and I just was so deeply nervous. So I was having like nightmares about it. Oh my God, an injection, that seems freaking terrifying. And my stress levels were so high that I broke out in hormonal acne all over my face, which I have had perfect skin for a very long time. And I've just 2 months ago, the acne went away. So it took me 5 months to rebalance my nervous system because I was just so nervous. That's like how crazily overthinking, I'm overthink a lot. And I think this experience really allowed me to just trust myself a little bit more and not be so anal. Like, I'm really anal naturally.
It teaches you a lot about yourself. And I also want to say these medicines and drugs and, whatever this combination was, but I call it all medicine.
Yeah, that's what they call it too.
It's like in that type of intention and format, it works through us before we arrive. And that's something I've really learned every time I've done ayahuasca or ketamine or psilocybin. The journey before you even get there can be just as deep as what happens during and after. It's already working through you. I've had times where I've committed to a medicine ceremony, and the days leading up to it, I feel like I'm on full psychedelics, and I'm not. And things come up and you see stuff because there's no coincidences in these quantum realms. So I would see things that I wouldn't even know were later going to come up and realize, well, those are related to my triggers or my childhood, or it's just wild.
Wow. I have a kind of a crazy little story about that there were signs before, which, because I'm still trying to understand what I really believe, right? Like I know all this stuff. I have an intuition that it does exist, but I haven't seen it point blank in my face. I just have these feelings. I don't know for sure if like my future self can speak to me from the future. I have no idea. Right. I'm just trying, but I'm seeing these things that are starting to convince me. Like before that trip, I was so darn nervous, and it's really crazy. So they told me at the facility, they messaged me before and they're like, this is kind of random, but like if there's a snack or like a food from your childhood that you like haven't had in ages that you really love from when you were a kid, like you can bring it, because like the next day it's really nice to kind of like reconnect with your inner child and like eat this thing. And I was thinking to myself, and I was on the phone with my parents like the day before, and I told them obviously what I was doing, and I was like, what snack or like candy or like whatever thing did I love as a kid? And my dad was like, you loved the Pocky sticks, the chocolate covered like sticks, the wafer sticks that are so random that you don't see anywhere anymore. Like they don't exist anymore for some reason. I've never seen, like I haven't seen them in years. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with the Pocky sticks or whatever. And I was like, Dad, like I live in the Bahamas. I'm not going to find those before I go, but like whatever, I'm not going to bring anything. So I was so nervous. I was at the airport in the Bahamas, like a small island airport, the day that I was leaving to go to this thing. And I usually go to the coffee shop there to get a bottle of water. And for some reason, I travel so much that, I always have my routines when I travel. So I always go and I get the same exact bottle of Fiji water from the coffee shop in the airport. And then I go to the gate. That's always my routine. They've never been out of water. So this time they were out of water. This is a tiny Bahamian airport, okay? And I look around and there's this like random sushi stand that I never noticed before, and it was, we're in the Bahamas, it's like a random sushi stand, it's tiny, and I look there and they have water bottles, the same Fiji ones that I like to get. So I was walking over there and I look up And on the counter, there is a display of Pokey sticks.
Oh my God.
A display, not just one, an entire like mural essentially of Pokey sticks. And I started crying. I was in the airport and I just started bawling. And it was like, my future self knows that I'm going to be okay. I'm a big girl. And it was just like such a crazy moment where I had to like look twice. And I just was so confused. It was just so wild. So that was my kind of random story, and I bought them and I ate them the next day. And
were they delicious?
No.
I
don't like sweet stuff like that.
Exactly.
But I bought it. That's all that matters. And it was my future self being like, you're going to be okay. Yeah. We're going to connect. It's all good.
And your past self, I would say, like your child, like linking all together. Yeah. The childhood Mimi was like, I'm here too. Yeah. I want to be integrated into this too.
Yeah.
And the fact that that's what your dad brought up, when I'm sure there were so many things you loved as a child, like
but that was the one big thing.
Synchronicities. That is huge.
Really weird.
And at a tiny airport on an island.
In an island. Like,
yes.
What?
And when you've seen everything there. Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised because this kind of stuff is wild. And clearly you're a magnet for synchronicities because this is what you do. You elevate your consciousness. That's what you teach people, and that's what you do for a living. And I'm just obsessed with that story. I'm so obsessed. So that happened then last November, right?
Yes.
Which is crazy because that's when I was...
December 1st was the day. Well, I left end of November, but yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly when I was doing the 6 sessions of ketamine, which is kind of wild. That was a portal of a time.
Yeah.
Wild. So then this year, you said that the last 6 months have been a whole different version of you. Mm-hmm. And I can see it. I mean, we haven't met in person before, but I feel like we have. And I've been following you for so long and connected with you for so long. I feel this like matured, elevated version of you. Mm-hmm. Which I can really see because I've been on a similar journey. I mean, I'm just a little bit older than you. Yeah. And we both started really young in the public eye. That comes with a lot of stuff in and of itself. And like there's various stages of that journey. And I'm even seeing myself through you like, whoa, we've both matured a lot, which is huge.
We're big girls now.
Yeah. So tell us what that has looked like.
So for me, this newfound, I guess, growing up that I've noticed inside of me has really shown itself through not being interested in what I used to be interested in and starting to not care as much about things to impress people. And when I'm in conversation, even with friends, and they're gossiping about something, like I just don't care anymore. I just don't want to be involved in anything that just like isn't meaningful for some reason. And again, not to say this like I'm on a high horse or anything like that at all, but I just have changed what I'm interested in. And I've been thinking about life a lot more, I guess. Like I'm just so grateful to be alive, and I want to spend more time with my family. I obviously live away, so I'm actually going to Toronto after this LA trip to go see family and just go spend time at my parents' house with my sister in the countryside and just not do anything. And, you know, I'm just valuing things that truly matter a little bit more. I don't care about the other stuff that I used to. You know, as much as I love how with my success I've been able to purchase nice things and I've been able to activate my abundance energy and, you know, buy like the new Bottega bag and, you know, whatever it is that I want to do. It doesn't, like, I really don't care about that anymore, although I can do it and it's great and I'm so grateful for it. I used to just value things that were a bit more materialistic a lot more. I used to try to change how I look, to look a certain way. I wanted to talk a certain way to be liked. Now I just really I feel like I've come into myself. I don't care about those things that I used to care about as much. I still enjoy them and I love being wealthy Mimi, which is like my future self identity. I'm all about abundance. I'm here on this world, in this world, to just experience like beautiful things. I love high quality, beautiful things, and I have no problem saying that that's definitely one of the things I meant to experience in this world. But I've realized that I truly just don't care about those things as much as I used to. I'm still going to pursue them because, again, it's part of what I'm, you know, what I enjoy, being, you know, in nice clothing and having nice things and having the freedom and the ability to give to the people that I want to. But again, it's really not the big focus, and I felt a little bit more, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just like, I feel like I've just taken like a big sigh, essentially. Like that's kind of what it feels like. I feel more calm and softer and just more sure of myself. That's the biggest shift.
I love it. Yeah, I can see it. I can really see it. And that's so beautiful. That's a part of the journey that I feel a lot of people hope to get to, and potentially some people never get to. So I completely feel you on that. It's incredible to see. What would be your tips for people who want to get to that next level?
That's a really good question, and I'm going to try to think about this deeply because I don't think I did something very easily describable on a podcast to get to this point. I think it was probably an accumulation of everything that I've been through, and maybe this, CEO Mimi that I've had to become over the past year building this business, and it growing faster than I could even handle, has just pivoted my life direction to just things to happen a bit faster. And I feel like this just really happened quickly, and I think that any tip that I could give someone right now would really just be related to just continuing on your personal development journey and listening to content and listening to people and reading books that trigger that inside of you, and just really focusing on internally, I guess, reflecting on what matters to you and what you truly want out of this life. Do you really want, just things and that new car and that new house, or do you want to feel incredible with your life? And do you want to feel, just like you can go wherever you want, whenever you want, and you feel satisfied and proud of yourself? Like what is it that you want to feel? Because I almost think that when you don't have a deeper meaning to these goals, you're not going to reach them as the likelihood of you reaching them is lower, and B, you don't have a passion for it. Like there's no depth to it. And I think finding that depth in your why and really understanding like why you want to create this life is the answer, and it's the key to unlock it all. My why is because I want to feel a certain way, and I want to live life to its fullest, and I want to just live a beautiful existence, and I want to be able to select the emotions that I want to feel that day, and I want to be able to be a master manifester and create amazing things and be in love with life and have a beautiful partner and just be so in love with life. That's my why. I want to be in love with life. How in the world is that going to be achieved if I'm just focusing on these material things constantly? I want something that really drives me. I want to be in love with life. I want to leave a legacy. I want to do something big and reach my potential. That's what I want to do.
Wow. That is amazing. I'm getting so much out of what you're saying right now. I'm just like, yes, that is my why too. And sometimes I forget. Sometimes I really do. Like I get so caught up in the loops of like anxieties and things that almost take me off the path and make me forget this life is beautiful. I do have like everything I could have ever wanted 5 years ago. And it's beautiful to have these goals, but to always come back to your why. It's the best tip ever.
Yeah, it's just like, that's just what drives you. And it also helps you manifest it faster.
It does. Yeah, it does.
Being in this energy, I've even created so much more in my life, especially the past year since being in this energy. And that's the best way to get what you want, is to live it now. Like living your future now.
It is. And you guys just got a place in London, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, we just bought a place, our first home.
That's so exciting. So you're going to be moving there, or just like spending time?
We're going to be spending time there. So we live in the Bahamas, but we're going to be spending 3-4 months out of the year in London. I think eventually we might end up there, but right now the Bahamas makes sense with business stuff. Like they have really incredible tax benefits, and we really like it there. And honestly, right now it's just a really good place for us to be. It's close to Canada and the US, and I travel a lot in the US for work and stuff. So we're going to be mainly in the Bahamas, but we're going to have a home in London that we will be in for a chunk of the year. And we didn't buy in the Bahamas, just it's not as good of a real estate investment. So yeah, just found an amazing place in London, and it's kind of crazy. It's come quite full circle because, as you know, I used to be on that TV show when I lived in London. Really just, I was a side character, so it wasn't this whole big thing, but I was on Made in Chelsea, and I was 20 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. And I was so broke at the time when I was living in London. I was, you know, at one point I had like $8 in my bank account. I posted screenshots of it. It was like, back in the day, it was really a moment for me because I was so broke, but I was on this TV show that made it seem all glitz and glam. And it was just, I was living a double life essentially. And yeah, you know, Made in Chelsea. Chelsea's a very high-end neighborhood in London, and you know, there's a show about people living there. It's kind of like The Hills for people that don't know what it is. It's just following a group of friends that live there, and it was pretty scripted. But so I was a nice, great actor or actress in my early days. But anyway, so while I was there, I had to like babysit at night and nanny at night to make rent because they only paid you like $50 a day. And it was really just this double life I was living. And so when we bought the house, it ended up being in Chelsea, and it ended up being this insanely beautiful home in the exact same place where 6 years ago I was, you know, filming a TV show pretending that this was my life for air, right?
Wow.
On air. But then now it's like I'm actually becoming the kind of person who can afford that kind of thing. And my first home is this home, and it's just so crazy. So it really did come full circle. Once we bought the place there, we were looking at a few different areas that just ended up being this place. And it's just really crazy that it happened so quickly. And going from that version of me 6 years ago to here, this version of me today, 6 years is really not a lot of time, and I've been able to completely reinvent myself in every area, and it feels slow when you're in the thick of it, but when you look back, it's so cool to see because I'm really proud of myself. It's crazy.
I'm so proud of you, and you should be so proud of yourself. That's something huge to celebrate.
Yeah, we're really
all
excited.
of it is.
Yeah, we're really excited.
And you're getting married.
Yes.
Are you planning your wedding?
Oh my gosh, I'm so busy right now. We want to get married in Italy probably in a year and a half-ish. But yeah, Ben's not interested in planning it. He's like, whatever you want. And I know that I'm just going to be the one choosing everything. So I will be waiting until I have a bit more time. Hopefully I can find a great wedding planner in the coming months and just kind of start things. But Italy.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, so many good things surrounding you. I'm so proud of you. So now, how old are you? Are you 26?
Almost 27, yeah.
Okay. I have a lot of 27-year-olds in my life. It's really interesting. I'm 32.
27. Okay.
27's a good year. What happened in my 27th year? I was 26 when I started dating Jonathan.
No way.
I had just turned 26, but we became friends when I was 23.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so 27, I got engaged, I think.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I think. Very interesting. Good stuff. Good stuff coming. So I want to ask you a couple of the rapid fires that I ask everyone who comes on. If you could be in a room with 3 people, living or dead, who would they be?
Oh, my gosh. Okay. 3 people, living or dead. I feel like I need to say Dr. Maxwell Maltz. No one really knows who it is. He wrote Psycho-Cybernetics in the 60s, and it's like an old book, but it's all about self-image psychology, and he was kind of the father of self-image psychology, and his work is incredibly inspiring for me, and it's really the basis of what I teach is his work and his findings. So him, because I love his work. I want to say Dr. Joe Dispenza because like his energy is insane, and I just feel like he'd be such an interesting person to talk to. So love that. And then I don't know, I feel like an Oprah or someone like that. Like Oprah has just created so much in her life. She came from nothing. She's a force. I feel like someone like her, she's very beautiful, motherly energy, and I feel like she has so many insights that I'd love to pick her brain about. But just people that have things to teach, I think, would be the biggest ones.
Yeah, that room would be amazing.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Oh my God. And I need to read that book. I've never read that book.
Really,
that
really
sounds
cool.
incredible. If you were a color, what color best represents your energy?
I feel like golden, not gold, but like a golden orange.
Ooh, like that
sunset
sacral,
orange, like beautiful, abundant, sparkly golden energy is what I always envision.
That's beautiful. What's your word for this era of your life?
Well, power, stepping into my power.
Power.
Just like becoming a very solid and self-assured version of myself.
Beautiful. And who are your mentors?
Gosh, I have a lot of different mentors for different areas of my life. I have a lot of people in my life that I look up to for business, connections of mine that, you know, incredible business people that I know in my life that I'll call if I need to, you know, run something by them. So I think I can't say one. I have so many different ones. But when people ask me who I look up to and who I want to kind of like emulate when it comes to what I'm trying to do with my life, I have a lot of trouble saying an answer. I don't have an answer for that because I'm so clear on my future self and who she is that that's really just my goal, and no one else has done what she's done. So that's definitely something I want to mention.
Ooh, that's really interesting. Yeah, the moment that you said that, like, people who have done what you want to do, I was so curious to hear who you were going to say. Wow. What has your future self accomplished? Tell us.
Her energy is just so grounding. She's so sure of herself. She is so intelligent and clear and concise and confident. And she is so, her heart is so open, and she is so in love with life, and she is tuned in to her sensitivity, but also into her power. And she's a very strong force, and she creates the life and anything that she desires with her mind. Like, she's a master manifester, and her energy is just incredible. That is truly my future self. And when I think about how she looks, and I think about her, gosh, she's always like in cashmere or like high quality, like matching sets, or just like she's always cozy, but high quality. And she loves linens and neutrals, and she doesn't wear too much makeup. She feels really good. She's sure of her, like I keep saying, sure of herself. She's so confident, and her mind just thinks clearly. There's no messiness and overthinking. She's just cool, calm, and collected. And she is a mother. I can't wait to be a mom. Like I was telling you, I cannot wait. She's a mom. And she has an amazing relationship. Ben and I have just like been amazing the past, honestly, our whole relationship's been pretty great, but especially the past 6 months or so, we have just completely connected in a new way. And I think that's a big part of my future too, because he's my everything. So
yes.
I also, my future self, you know, she has made enough to really like give back to her family, my family. And that's something that really fulfills me more than anything. You know, as I've been earning more money, being able to help the people I love and being able to give, that's been a really big thing, because it's so fulfilling. It's so deeply fulfilling. You know, I think about the day that I can like pay off my parents' mortgage. You know, right now I'm reinvesting my money into the business, and they know that, and I'm, you know, helping out in different ways. But like the day that I could do something huge like that, I can't wait for that. The day that I could, you know, pay off debts for some people in my life and just be really giving. I'm a very generous person with the people that I love, and I think I love that about myself.
Wow. Well, I want to meet your future self, but I would also tell you, you're already her.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this. You're the younger version of her. You're the younger version, but you embody all of those qualities, and they're just going to expand.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this was incredibly special.
Thanks,
I'm
Jordan.
so glad we got to do this in person, no less. So tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, right. You can find me on Instagram at Mimi Bouchard, my name. You can try Superhuman, my meditation app, for 14 days free. If you guys want a free trial, go to www.superhuman.app. So not .com, but .app, A-P-P, or just go to the App Store and search us there. And we do a money back guarantee. So try it out for 2 weeks free. If you hate it, you can always cancel and get your money back. But I guess my content's quite different. We're actually in the process of trying to like stay away from the word meditation and move into a new word that we just hired a whole team to kind of help us with this new project.
I can't wait to see what the word is.
Because because the content's so different. Like we have seated meditation, sure, but most of the app is like walking meditations, getting ready in the morning meditations, cooking, cleaning, you know, running, legs up wall meditation. Like we have energizing, motivational, visualization focused content that is all about changing your self-image so that you can become your future self in these everyday moments. Because when you link new thoughts and behavior, or new thoughts and beliefs to new behaviors in your physical body, it just helps you transform so much faster. Closing your eyes and sitting with your eyes closed in meditation is beautiful and it's powerful. But truly acting as if and being your future self in these everyday, once mundane moments, like walking your dog, like doing the dishes, that is where true change and transformation happens. And Superhuman is the only app that helps you do that. So we're in the process of trying to kind of rename what we do, because it's not really meditation. It's like functional audio. It's not really a meditation, but it's not a podcast, but it's not just music, even though we have amazing, energizing music. It's kind of something in between that. So stay tuned. We're kind of trying to create something new here. But in the meanwhile, you can go check it out on our app.
Wow. Well, I'm so proud of you. You're so amazing. I can't wait for all of our listeners to check out your work if they haven't already. And this was just lovely. Now we're going to do your podcast so people can tune into both. Just keep the combo going.
Keep the combo going. Woo-hoo! Can't wait. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.